Steam deals do not get more ridiculous than this. These 25 games are absolute must-owns, and right now, you can grab all of them for a fraction of their original price. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt kicks off the list at number 1 as one of the greatest open-world RPGs ever made, and one of the smartest buys you can find on Steam during any sale. Developed by CD Projekt Red, this game drops you into a massive, handcrafted world filled with morally complex quests, memorable characters, and storytelling that rivals the best of any medium. The 2 expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, add dozens more hours of content that outclass many full-price standalone games. Combat is fluid and satisfying, and the world rewards exploration with genuine discoveries, rather than filler content. At up to 90% off during Steam sales, this is one of the most obvious purchases in all of gaming.
Coming in at number 2, Elden Ring is From Software's open-world masterpiece and one of the most critically acclaimed games released in the past decade. Designed in collaboration with George R.R. Martin, The Lands Between is a hauntingly beautiful and punishing world filled with intricate lore, demanding bosses, and deep build customization that rewards experimentation. The freedom to approach the world in any order makes every playthrough feel uniquely personal, and the sense of discovery remains unmatched in the action RPG genre. Multiplayer options, including co-op and invasions, add a social layer that extends the experience significantly. Catching this on sale is one of the best value decisions any PC gamer can make right now.
Number 3 belongs to Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar's staggering open-world epic set in the dying days of the American frontier. You play as Arthur Morgan, an outlaw navigating loyalty, morality, and survival as the world around him rapidly changes. The level of environmental detail is unmatched in the industry, with weather systems, wildlife behavior, and NPC routines that make the world feel genuinely alive. The story is one of the finest in gaming history, told with cinematic confidence across a campaign that runs well over 50 hours. On sale at a deep discount, this is a game that justifies its purchase at full price and becomes an absolute no-brainer at reduced cost.
Cyberpunk 2077 arrives at number 4 as one of the most remarkable redemption stories in recent gaming history. After a troubled launch, CD Projekt Red rebuilt this game from the ground up into a genuinely exceptional open-world RPG. Night City is one of the most visually stunning and densely crafted game environments ever realized, and the story delivers some of the most emotionally resonant moments in the genre. The Phantom Liberty expansion adds a spy thriller narrative thread that stands as some of the best content in the game. At a steep discount on Steam, this is a must-own title that rewards patience and playtime in equal measure.
5th place goes to Hogwarts Legacy, the long-awaited open-world RPG set in the wizarding world that delivered everything fans had hoped for from a game in this universe. You attend Hogwarts in the 1800s, learning spells, brewing potions, and uncovering an ancient secret threatening the wizarding community. The recreation of Hogwarts Castle is extraordinary in its detail and fidelity to the source material, and exploring every corridor and secret passage is genuinely rewarding. Combat is fast-paced and creative, built around spell combination and environmental interaction. It received very positive reviews on Steam, and has been heavily discounted in multiple sales since launch. Baldurs Gate 3 claims the 6th position as arguably the greatest CRPG ever made, and a game that set a new standard for the entire genre upon release. Developed by Larian Studios and set in the Dungeons & Dragons universe, it offers an extraordinary level of player agency, where virtually every decision branches the narrative in meaningful ways. The companion characters are written with a depth that rivals prestige television, and the turn-based combat rewards tactical thinking without sacrificing accessibility. Co-op support allows up to 4 players to experience the campaign together, which is an entirely different and equally excellent way to play. Deep discounts make this a purchase with an almost absurd value proposition. Number 7 belongs to Resident Evil 4 Remake, Capcom's stunning reimagining of one of the most beloved action games in history. The original's classic campaign has been rebuilt from scratch with modern graphics, refined controls, and expanded storytelling that adds meaningful context to existing characters and relationships. Leon S. Kennedy's mission to rescue the president's daughter from a European cult remains as tense and varied as ever, with each chapter introducing new enemy types and environmental challenges. The parry system and knife durability mechanics add a new layer of tactical decision-making absent from the original. This is a case where the remake genuinely matches and in some areas surpasses the source material. Hades 2 steps into 8th as the long-awaited sequel to one of the most acclaimed roguelikes ever created, and it has already surpassed expectations even in early access. You play as Melinoe, daughter of Hades and sister of Zagreus, fighting through the underworld with an expanded cast of Olympian boons and entirely new weapon types. The progression system is deeper and more varied than the original, with a world map structure that adds genuine strategic decision-making between runs. The writing and voice performances maintain the same exceptional standard that made the first game a cultural phenomenon. Every run teaches you something new, and the compulsion to try one more attempt is as powerful as ever. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice arrives at 9 as From Software's most focused and mechanically singular entry in their catalog of demanding action games. Set in a stylized version of late Sengoku-era Japan, you play as a shinobi navigating loyalty, resurrection, and revenge across beautifully realized environments. The posture and deflection combat system is entirely unique in the genre and demands precision, rhythm, and patience to master properly. Boss encounters are among the most intense and satisfying in any action game, with each victory feeling genuinely earned. At a discounted price, this is an essential purchase for anyone who appreciates tight, uncompromising game design. Death Stranding Director's Cut lands at 10th as one of the most unique and divisive gaming experiences available on Steam, and one that rewards open-minded players enormously. Directed by Hideo Kojima, it tasks you with reconnecting a fractured post-apocalyptic America by physically delivering cargo across stunning, hostile landscapes. The traversal and logistics mechanics are deeper and more engaging than they initially appear, and the sense of accomplishment when planning and completing a difficult route is unlike anything else in gaming. The Director's Cut adds significant content and quality of life improvements that make it the definitive version of an already fascinating experience. It is a game best experienced without expectations and best purchased on sale. Monster Hunter World claims 11th place as the entry that brought one of gaming's most rewarding franchises to the widest audience it has ever reached. The game tasks you with tracking, studying, and hunting enormous creatures across lush ecosystems, where every environmental element plays a meaningful tactical role. 14 distinct weapon types each offer a completely different playstyle, ensuring that no two hunters approach the same creature in the same way. The seamless co-op system allows up to 4 players to join hunts together with minimal friction. With the Iceborne expansion included during sale periods, the total value of content available is extraordinary by any measure. Fallout New Vegas steps into 12 as the most beloved entry in the Fallout franchise and one of the finest open-world RPGs in gaming history. Developed by Obsidian Entertainment, it sets a post-nuclear adventure in the Mojave Desert, with a level of faction depth, dialogue writing, and consequence-driven quest design that the series has not matched since. Every major decision carries real weight, and the multiple endings reflect the sum of your choices rather than a single binary outcome. During Steam sales, it has dropped to as low as $1, making it one of the most extraordinary value propositions in all of PC gaming. The modding community has also kept it continuously improved and expanded for well over a decade. Slay the Spire arrives at 13 as the roguelike deck builder that defined an entire genre and spawned countless imitators without ever being dethroned. You build a deck of cards on the fly across procedurally generated runs, combining synergies that grow increasingly powerful as you ascend toward the Spire's final boss. 4 playable characters each have distinct card pools and gameplay identities that require fundamentally different strategies. No 2 runs play out the same way, and discovering a new card combination that clicks into an overwhelming build never loses its satisfaction. At up to 90% off during Steam sales, this is one of the most replayable purchases you can make at any price. Stardew Valley lands at 14 as one of the most beloved and enduring indie games ever created, and one that regularly appears among the most recommended games on Steam, regardless of sale or price. You inherit a farm and gradually restore it while building relationships with the surrounding town, exploring mines, fishing, and discovering hidden secrets. The game is gentle in tone, but surprisingly deep in its systems, and the freedom to approach each season at your own pace makes it accessible to virtually any type of player.
Multiplayer support allows up to 4 players to share a farm together. Given how deeply discounted it gets and how many hours it consistently delivers, the value here is essentially unbeatable. Hollow Knight steps into 15 as one of the finest Metroidvania games ever made, and a benchmark achievement in indie game design. You explore a vast underground kingdom of insects across a hand-drawn world that grows increasingly complex and atmospheric with each new area discovered. Combat is precise and demanding without being unfair, and the boss roster is widely considered one of the best in the genre. The narrative is largely environmental and rewards curiosity and close attention, revealing a surprisingly rich and melancholy world beneath its surface. Developer Team Cherry has supported it extensively, and the game regularly hits its lowest price during Steam sales, making it a purchase with essentially no downside. Deep Rock Galactic claims 16 as one of the most beloved cooperative shooters on Steam, and a game that has earned its enormous goodwill through consistent quality and developer generosity. Up to 4 players take on the roles of space dwarves, mining and fighting through procedurally generated cave systems on a hostile alien planet. 4 distinct classes each bring specialized tools that encourage genuine teamwork, rather than simply running in the same direction. The post-launch content roadmap has been extensive and almost entirely free, which is a rarity in modern gaming. When on sale, this is a purchase that virtually guarantees enjoyment for anyone who plays co-op games with friends. V Rising steps into 17 as a vampire survival crafting game that launched into early access and quickly became one of the most talked about games of its year before reaching a polished full release. You rise as a newly awakened vampire, building your castle, hunting for blood, and expanding your powers across a gothic open world. The combat is fast and skill-based, and the progression system ties new abilities directly to hunting specific powerful targets. The full release added substantial content and refinements that address virtually every complaint from the early access period. It holds a very positive rating on Steam and represents exceptional value during any sale event. Valheim arrives at 18 as the Viking survival crafting experience that took the gaming world by storm and demonstrated how compelling emergent player-driven survival can be. You explore a procedurally generated mythological world, gathering resources, building increasingly elaborate structures, and taking down world bosses that unlock new materials and biomes. The building system is one of the most intuitive in the genre, and the moment of sailing into a new biome for the first time carries genuine tension and wonder. The active development team has added multiple major updates since launch, significantly expanding the amount of content available. It remains one of the most played survival games on Steam for very good reason. Subnautica claims 19 as one of the most uniquely atmospheric survival exploration games ever made, set entirely on a water-covered alien planet where the ocean floor descends into terrifying darkness. You manage oxygen, hunger, and thirst while building underwater habitats and uncovering the mystery of why your ship crashed. The sense of descending deeper into unknown waters is one of gaming's most genuinely tense experiences, with creature encounters that rely on sound design and environmental cues rather than jump scares. The story reveals itself organically through exploration, and its emotional conclusion is surprisingly affecting. It holds an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam, and is one of the most recommended games on this list without hesitation. Planet Zoo steps into 20 as the most detailed and rewarding zoo management simulation available on PC. Developed by Frontier Developments with an extraordinary level of animal behavior and habitat authenticity. Each animal species has genuine welfare needs, including space, enrichment, temperature, and social dynamics that must be balanced alongside the financial and logistical management of a growing park. The construction tools are deep and creative, allowing players to build everything from functional enclosures to elaborate themed environments. The modding and workshop community has produced an enormous library of additional content. During Steam sales, this game can be found at its lowest prices, making its enormous volume of content feel like an exceptional investment. Nioh Complete Edition arrives at 21 as Team Ninja's dark fantasy action RPG set in a fictionalized version of feudal Japan, and one of the finest games in the Souls-like adjacent genre. The combat system adds a stamina and stance mechanic that rewards aggressive play and precise timing,
in a way that distinguishes it clearly from Software's catalog. The loot system is deep and encourages constant gear optimization, and the build variety available across the full game is genuinely impressive. The Complete Edition bundles all 3 expansions, which together add substantial hours of additional content. At 90% off, it has been available for under $5, representing one of the most remarkable value propositions in gaming history.
NieR Automata lands at 22 as one of the most philosophically ambitious and emotionally affecting action RPGs ever released, and a game that genuinely earns its reputation as a masterpiece of the medium. Directed by Yoko Taro, it tells the story of android warriors fighting a proxy war on behalf of humanity, but the game's true themes only reveal themselves across multiple playthroughs that each recontextualize what came before. The combat is fast and stylish, blending hack and slash and bullet hell elements in a way that stays consistently engaging. The soundtrack is widely regarded as one of gaming's finest. On sale, it regularly reaches historically low prices and belongs in every serious PC gaming library. Disco Elysium: The Final Cut steps into 23 as one of the most original and literary games ever created, a point-and-click detective RPG that builds its entire experience around dialogue, internal monologue, and the skills within your own psyche becoming characters themselves. You play as an amnesiac detective piecing together a murder case in a decaying port city while simultaneously figuring out who you are and what you believe. The writing is extraordinary in its depth, humor, and philosophical ambition, and the skill check system creates emergent storytelling moments that no other game replicates. The Final Cut added full voice acting across all dialogue. For anyone who values narrative above all else in games, this is essential. Prey arrives at 24 as one of the most underappreciated immersive sim games of the modern era, and a title that rewards exploration and creative problem-solving above all else. Developed by Arcane Studios, it sets you aboard a space station overtaken by alien entities, with an enormous range of tools and abilities that allow you to approach every situation in multiple ways. The station itself is a masterclass in environmental storytelling and interconnected level design that reveals new pathways and secrets across multiple playthroughs. The moral choices embedded in its narrative carry genuine weight and affect how the game concludes. Frequently discounted to historically low prices, this is one of the most criminally overlooked games on Steam. Green Hell closes the list at 25 as a genuinely uncompromising survival simulation set in the depths of the Amazon rainforest, where every system from nutrition to psychology to wound treatment demands real attention and care. You must manage macronutrients individually, treat infections and parasites, maintain your mental health, and build shelter while the jungle constantly presents new threats. The survival mechanics are among the most detailed and authentic in the genre, and the game does not hold your hand at any point. A story mode provides narrative context for solo players, while co-op mode allows up to 4 players to survive together. At 90% off during Steam sales, this is a deeply rewarding experience for anyone who takes their survival games seriously.